be a universal message. All right, so we are on the first and third Tuesday of the month. This would be the third Tuesday, right?
Yes.
November? Okay, perfect. Excellent. And I recognize the people that are on this Zoom, so this is good. I'm in the right place at the right time. Fantastic. And so we've got Nancy on the call this morning, and what we were going to talk about is for somebody that is looking to begin building an organization and really focus on that as part of a business plan, what are the things to focus on? And so number one, Nancy, I would invite you to make a list of, and this is not, you won't find this in the training videos on Empire Builders Pro under attraction and recruiting. However, in the making of a list before you actually get to that part, I would invite you to sit down and get really clear on the traits and characteristics of people that you want to be in business with. Because if they're going to be in business with you, it means you're going to be spending more time together, and more time together is investing in people, right? So like Rick would always talk about hungry, humble, smart, and coachable. And those were the kinds of people that he would want to be in business with, traits and characteristics that were had by those kind of people that have those kind of traits and characteristics. And so you'll always, as we seek, so we shall find. And so is maybe, is it learning based? Is it somebody who's hungry? Is it somebody who is influential? Is it somebody who is, incredibly coachable? Like, what are the traits and characteristics of the individuals that you want to be in business with? And when you get really clear on that, and it works in other areas of life too. I had a coach that had me do that for a relationship. And so they had me make a list of 100 things, and I got to like 73 and slapped it on the side of a refrigerator, not wanting to look at it because I didn't want to be in a relationship at that time. It was a coach's challenge. And when I went to move and was in a relationship with Rick, I found the list, and he was like over 60 of the 73 traits. So as
Wow.
in life, it also works in business. And part of why that works is because it's taking your conscious mind and focusing it in a way that now your subconscious, which is, your energy and what draws to you, can be aligned in the people that you meet, the experiences that you're going to have, and the things that you'll, create from. So I find that it's really, really, really key to be clear on what those traits and characteristics are, right? So I find, like, for me, one of the biggest traits and characteristics that I'm looking for in someone is that they're hungry, because I know that I cannot teach desire. I cannot teach hunger. Someone's hungry or they're not hungry.
Right.
And so I want to find people that are hungry, that have a burning desire inside of themselves to do something and to do something great, and somebody that's going to get up self-motivated because they have that hunger when they wake up in the morning. And not everybody's geared like that. And so I want to focus in and find, like, how do I most effectively find people that are hungry? Because the people that are hungry, I can help, right? When I show them, like, here's a plan of how you can change the trajectory of your business and your future and your family for generations, depending on how big you want to go. That they're like, okay, get out of my way. I got to go to work. And so those are the types of people, for me, as by way of example. So step
Okay.
one in getting clear on, just be really thoughtful. Like, there's no wrong list of traits and characteristics. It's who you want to work with, who you want to be in business with, who you want to be associated with, and what you feel like when you're, with those people, right? I, in times past, was not clear on the traits and characteristics. And I was like, can they fog a mirror? And are they willing? And if they could fog a mirror and they were willing, then it was like, okay. And then, sign up for, emotionally draining because it was, adult daycare, right? And babysitting. I don't want to do that, right? So, it might be important if I put hungry on my list of traits and characteristics. So your list will evolve from things that you're aware of right now, and then things that will come up as you have experiences that you don't necessarily want to be having. And you'll go, oh, well, what trait or characteristic could I get more clear on, such that if that person had this trait or characteristic or developed into that trait or characteristic, it would make this experience that much better. So it'll be a work in progress, and you don't need to get, it doesn't have to be the perfect list. It's just a list of traits and characteristics that's going to get you started and in a direction. And now the second piece of that is, as you go through, it sounds like you're working your way through the videos on Empire Builders Pro, the attraction and recruiting videos.
Yeah, I am. And then I did take one other class on attraction with this John Mendelson, and he's targeting. That's why I want to get your opinion on that. He's targeting like cappers because that's true. My first two recruits, which I did have last year, left because they were brand new, and I honestly didn't have the time to spend with them to, like you said, handhold them all the way through. So
Yeah.
what do you feel about like 3 million to 10 million, cappers, versus,
No,
or what do you think about teams? Because now that we've got these great programs that Glenn has brought out, like Boost and all these, these programs basically based on bringing teams over. What's your thought on that?
yeah. So can you see my screen right now? High
Yes.
quality
Uh-huh.
productive agents. So here's the attrition model for EXP.
Okay.
And look, notice where attrition's happening. The biggest amount of attrition is happening in people that do 7 or fewer sales per year. And the
Yeah. And that,
least
okay.
amount of attrition that's happening is when you get to 13 sales and above. So depending on the market, yes,
And
that definitely could be cappers, right? So if we look at
right.
what that empirical data shows us, yes, that's a great place to focus as far as retention goes in an organization, because you're not attempting to make someone productive that's not productive on their own. They're here enjoying the benefits of what being productive looks like, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
if they've capped, now they've got a next milestone to hit around icon. That being said, I was on a phone call with, was on a 3-way call yesterday with someone in our organization, and this woman had, she had found the person on YouTube because he'd put a YouTube video out, why you left Keller Williams. And that because he had the search engine optimization running very well, has gotten a lot of eyeballs. And so she reached out to him based on that. And she was under the impression that, I was telling her our story, and she said, "Oh, well, you guys started in, 2017. There's 2,400 agents. That was good for you, good timing for you." And I was like, well, yes and no. For people that don't really understand how our model works, they might think that, but the truth is that the opportunity to grow and build something today is stronger than it was when we started in 2017, because in 2017 there was 2,400 agents. We didn't have the infrastructure to grow and scale. Operationally and systems, it was a disaster. People didn't know the brand, and so there wasn't credibility with the brand, and there was a question of if it was going to work and if it was going to work long term. All of these things that are not on trial anymore, and everything that is, we've gone from that 2,400 agents to close to 90,000. But why people don't, if people would look at that and go, oh, you got in early, you got in at the right time, why that is a misconception is because we're slated to go to 500,000 agents in the next 5 to 7 years. And the growth between 90,000 and 500,000 has a lot more velocity to it than 2,400 to 90,000. So when people understand and start to put those pieces together, and then you look at, and then I was on another call with somebody yesterday that was a prospect call that hadn't, they had knew some things about EXP, but it's like, okay, well, look at this market that's shifting and all the different ways that you can play in this market. By way of example, for these people that fall in the 0 to 2 sales a year, and maybe that's going backwards due to what's happening in the market. Now we've got a $50 a month referral program that does not require somebody to be a member of a board, and those people still have a network to be monetized of buyers and sellers. Imagine if you had an organization of those people that were sending referral business in to your more active agents that are, committed to being in the industry and staying in the industry. That's like a whole sector. And then all of the independent brokerages now that there's incentives and programs for, however, also a demand because of the change and shift in the marketplace, and being able to now help these people with the longevity of their business plan, because we're taking over the liability responsibility and in many cases overhead issues that it's taking them to run their independent brokerages. So yes, independent brokerages are amazing. People that are coming up on franchise renewals or their franchise is getting ready to expire, that have that have that, people that are in recruiting positions for other companies incredible people to, to have as far as attraction right now. I just focus in on keeping things really, really simple as far as a target goes, right? And so we can see based on the numbers, the more productive an agent is, the higher retention goes. The more productive an agent is, the more revenue share gets produced in an organization anyway. So if you have an organization of 100 agents that are on 2 to 3 sales a year versus an organization of 50 agents that are doing 8 to 20 sales a year, your revenue share is going to look entirely different and bigger because of the productivity of that organization. So yes, outside of traits and characteristics of the individuals and who they are as people that you would want to be in business with, and you start to look at this next layer of how to be strategic in those relationships that you either already have or ones where you can develop relationships within that.
Okay, that sounds good. And then, I mean, out of state, in state, does it matter?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, which one?
Yes. Doesn't matter.
Do it
That
all?
is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter because of how we work. Like we can plug people in and support them at whatever level they want to be supported, regardless of where they're at. And that's the beauty of this model. So I go back to, the example of Chuck Fazio. Does that name ring a bell? You were at Build. You may have seen him speak. He had the really deep, raspy voice. He and his wife, Chuck and Angela.
Yeah, yeah.
And over 12 years, they built their own brokerage to 900 agents in one location in one area, which is pretty amazing, right? Then, for the reasons why independents moved to EXP, they moved to EXP. About 700 of their agents came over. And 5 years later, that organization of 700 is now, in excess of 5,000 in 5 years. Why? Because it's not in their local market. They had a base in their local market, but the beauty of how and why we can build with EXP is that it's relationship based. It's not territory based. So, and people know people who know people everywhere. Realtors are moving all the time and are, networked with people, and everybody's got a handful of realtors in their family. I mean, I don't know any family that doesn't have a handful of realtors in it. Maybe that's just because the family I'm in is heavily weighted in realtors. It could be an individual experience. However, it starts to get exciting there. So if you get your list of traits and characteristics, as you're building out the list of who those people are that you'd like to be in business with, Katie Delosto has the greatest door opener to get an appointment with someone. And it's, the conversation is, I made a list of 100 people that I'd like to be in business with. You are on that list because of XYZ, whatever it is. That's the trait or characteristic or the reason why she would want to be in business with them. I don't know what that looks like. However, I'd like to find a way that we can work together and help each other. Are you open to meeting for coffee?
That's good.
And she's, booking appointments right, left, and center. And then when you get in front of someone, now you're in a relationship building stage. And my invitation to you would be to stick to the process that's in the builders training and not go into EXP. Use that as really a fact find to build relationship with them, understand a little bit about their business. And oh, by the way, if I had resources that could support you in XYZ, is that a conversation that you'd, be open to exploring? And if yes, now you're into, kind of the next step with them. And it could even be just based on what you shared about wanting to, work on communication. There's someone like that you have got to meet that is incredible at communication. And you set up a 3-way call, or based on what you said you wanted to do, with your sales business in the coming year and starting to build a team. There is like the best of the best that I happen to, collaborate with frequently. That I can see if she'd be willing to give you 20 to 30 minutes of her time. Is that something you're open to? Would that be a value to you? Right. So you're just listening for what their need is and then plugging them into the next thing. And it'll get to EXP. But it's really about developing that relationship and becoming the resource. And then if you want to take the direct approach, I mean, you could absolutely go direct if that's what you're comfortable with. And that is, that could be a conversation like, would you pay your broker this year?
Mm-hmm.
And do you consider yourself an entrepreneur or do you consider yourself a business person? They're not the same thing. So if you're an entrepreneur, then what you paid your broker this year isn't as important as if you're a business person and you're looking at what you paid your broker this year. And are you building something or are you selling something?
Okay.
And how does your
And,
life and your business change if you start to build something versus, you know, only sell? That's something you'd be open to exploring. Like,
and what do you think about foreign recruiting? Like I have a cousin in Dubai right now.
I
Uh,
think I think that international opportunities are amazing, and EXP is different country to country to country to country. Like it does not operate the same. The offering's not the same. It is different everywhere you go. So I would say if you have a great relationship there, by all means, because that person in Dubai more than likely has relationships in the US. Yes?
yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So again, we're back to thinking about the network, not the location.
Okay. All right, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can keep it simple and it is, oh, I'm clear on the traits and characteristics. Here are the people that I know, and leave room for the people that you'll meet and the people that you'll meet through the people that you know. And then it is being in those conversations and reaching and touching people to be able to create those kind of connections and relationships, just like real estate sales in many ways.
Hmm.
Yeah. Helpful?
Yes, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, keep it simple and get in action. And then in the action, you'll create energy and momentum that will start to, you know, will start to move.
Okay, and then the three ways, those are I can schedule those through Empire Builders Pro, correct?
That is correct. Yep, calendars are there and up to date.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Good morning, Ralph. The sun is shining brightly on you.
Just in the car, I'm stopping right now. I just got done with a Asian coffee. I'm 3 for 3, so I'm actually pretty happy because I said I was going to for lunch or coffee once a week. So I've gotten 3 weeks in. I don't think I activates on, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Is I'm just looking to build the relationships and then finding things to invite to, whether they're local or however that's going to work, and then just getting on those calls. So yeah, the calendar's up to date and we're good. I think I'm just doing, and then I'm just kind of just searching to see how to help the agents that I'm working with, and then just putting them in a pipeline and following up with them, on a calendar basis.
Okay. So, are you open to a suggestion?
Yeah.
Until they're talking to someone outside of you, it's going to be a slow go. That's
Okay.
just the nature of the beast, right? So we have people like the people that I am picking up with and talking to, um, that Rick was in conversation with. Now I'm going to be getting him in front of Brent Gove as soon as I get a decent conversation with them to get them outside of me or Rick into a bigger conversation with someone else. So my recommendation for you would be use whatever you need to use to pivot to another conversation and either bring Selena in or bring me into that conversation about their business, their life, their future, what's possible, any of those things. Am I freezing? Or is he freezing? I can see Laura smiling and Selena's head turning. There you are, Ralph.
So yeah, so get them on the freeway as fast as possible.
Yeah. Yep.
Got it.
Excellent. Good, good. All right. Well, outside of what we have already covered today, so what were the main takeaways from today?
For me, I need to get into action and keep it simple, and I'll develop my avatar or the target audience that I'm looking for.
Fantastic. Any other takeaways?
I wrote down, I mean, obviously I think the thinking about it from, I really liked what you shared about even when it was for a relationship, about thinking about that list of traits or that characteristics about who you want to work with or who you want to surround yourself with. And I think when you start thinking about it in that way, and like putting the list up on the refrigerator or maybe even on the whiteboard, I think you start to see people more that way, right? Like it's almost like when when you buy a yellow car and then all of a sudden you see yellow cars everywhere, sort of a situation. But when you're looking at the list and you're seeing those traits and you're maybe looking at that list regularly of those traits, you start to see it show up more places. And so you are meeting someone and you're like, oh, they tick a lot of those boxes, that person, or, and only by putting that list in front of you and looking at it regularly, will you become more aware. So being able to define it means that you're becoming more aware of it in your life and in your business. And then making that list like Katie did of 100 people that made that list, because you're very like tunnel vision of like, do they meet these requirements and who do I want to be with? And I think about a coaching client who I did that with, where she was a broker owner, but I said, who are the top 10 people? If you could get the top 10 people in your market, like who are those people? And put it on, she put it on a giant piece of Post-it paper, and she put it in her bathroom on the back of the door. And then she put it in her office on the back of the door. And by seeing it literally every day, that list of 10 people, it was always, always, always on her mind. And when you put it in front of you, so it's like impossible to walk out the door without seeing it, or impossible to walk out of the bathroom without seeing it, you're just more aware of what you're looking for, or more aware of what you're doing, whether it's in the back of your head all the time. It's not like boom, slam, like right in your face. And it's like yellow car, yellow car, yellow car, yellow car. So that was my takeaway. It was like, you have to find a way to really make it slap you in the face almost daily.
I love it. Like this, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Excited about life.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, before we say goodbye today, is there anything else that's come up since we've been talking that you wanted to connect on or get support with? If so, what would that be?
I have a quick question. If we have somebody that has already been on a three-way call, and whether it wasn't like the time for them, what's the process, or is there like just process of just following up and just kind of waiting till their 12 o'clock hits? Or is there like, do we loop them back into another three-way call?
Yeah, I just always ask people, when people say it's not the right time for them, I just say, is it all right if I, would it be okay if I stay in touch with you and keep you in the loop as things progress? And so, you've got a conversation point, keeping people in the loop as things progress, of some pretty incredible, just even to have a number around as it relates to, business and production, and who's thriving in this marketplace right now. And what does this look like based on what we've seen within the organization that we're working in? Right. So basically people that are doing 8 or more sales per year. And if they're not doing that much business, how do we get them to that much business? And are they open to, a conversation, so that not only do they make it through this market, but they can thrive in it? And just a revisit on their business, or a check-in, and how they may be structuring things or doing things, and open to a revisit going into the new year to perhaps have some new strategies and new ideas.
Got it.
Yeah. And then you're back to one of the things that we love is being in collaboration. And you could just say, I just got off this call this morning where I was collaborating with, a handful of other people about business in the future. And I thought of you because, and now you're, the door's back open again.
Got it.
And who had a question?
I had a question if anybody is using the CRM Grow software just to keep track of recruiting people.
I used to.
What did you think of it?
It's not bad. It's there were just, and there's definitely some templates in there and things like that. I don't find it the most user friendly, and what I didn't love about it is that it gives them the option to unsubscribe. right? So when you're
Okay.
sending something like that, I don't love that. You know, just means that they could be like, click, no more from you. I think you're going to be better suited to sending a personal text and picking up the phone in that respect. So we stopped using it.
Okay.
I never
Because
want
someone had recommended it because of the feature where you can check their commitment level on whether they finished the 9-minute
video.
video or not. Yeah.
Casey, you want to speak to how you feel about the video? And it's much more than a 9-minute video that we send when we do the model explained.
Yeah, so the watching the video with someone is going to be your best bet because you're having an experience with them in the moment. I mean, they could play that 9-minute video in the car and the kid's screaming and they caught every third word and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. So to like really get people's arms wrapped around the information and having an exposure, going through that with someone to be able to have a conversation around, oh, what was most interesting to you? What would you like to learn more about? Is really the only way you're going to know if people are looking at resources and assets like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, do you track them at all then, like in KV Core, and mark them as a prospect or a attraction?
We're currently using Trello to manage it in that way, which is not always the best way because you can't email or anything like that from it. I'm looking at using Follow-Up Boss moving forward, but I haven't fully committed to it at the moment. You know, Trello was our way with Rick and Casey of, you know, kind of keeping everybody on sort of a dashboard for us to see the status, and like, because we've got hundreds of them in there, of like fresh of mind, and it's very easy to use. You can see it on your phone, you can see it on an iPad. It's a really good way for us to have ABC leads and then really the people we were already working on. So there was some flexibility in that was pretty easy to use. But ultimately I'd like to switch into using Follow-Up Boss for those people who are truly C or B that I just want on some sort of long-term drip. A's will never be on any kind of a drip. That is like, A is appointment, A is somebody that you are deeply in relationship with, you are having real conversations, phone calls, text messages, and they would never be on any kind of a drip situation. But that's what I'm working on converting into, is Follow-Up Boss.
Okay. And Trello, that's like a project manager type software? Is that what that is?
It is. It's like a Kanban board. If you're familiar with that, we use the free version. We like it a lot just because for anybody who's got any eye in them, it's pretty, and it's easy to use. And I like it because you can use it on so many platforms like the desktop and your phone and your iPad or whatever it is. And it's very easy to utilize that way. And you're just dragging a card from one to the other. It's very simple to use. And it allows you to just very quickly categorize people accordingly. You can change the color. You can, there's a lot of flexibility inside that system to change their status very quickly, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and that could help you just keep track of when the last time you spoke to them was.
Yep.
Or any notes. Okay.
Yep. And like we'll change the color, even like you can do red, yellow, green, like kind of where they are, and things like that. And it has checklists built into it too. So if you wanted to do some sort of a checklist in there, there's a lot of flexibility even in the free version.
Okay.
And I do teach that quite a bit on systems with Selena. It comes up a lot. So I'm starting in December, I'm teaching that class just on the first Fridays of every month. But if that's something you wanted to review, we could certainly do it on one of those.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Excellent. All right. Well, great seeing all of your faces, Nancy. I'm imagining yours well and healthy and thriving and feeling amazing. And so that's what I will see for you, like the picture that's there holding your spot. And Ralph, congratulations on the forward progress. And that will be a wrap for today. We'll have this posted on the YouTube channel if you want to go back and catch any of it. All right. Love y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.